Very quickly, I just want to give you a little overview of the courses themselves so that some of this context starts to fit together and make sense to you. There are 2 college courses. They're very similar, but they have notable differences, as we've been referring to. There is Communicating Ocean Sciences to K-12 audiences and Communicating Ocean Sciences to informal audiences. The courses are taken by... the students taking the courses are undergraduate and graduate students in science majors. These are science students. In most cases, they're science students in some major or program related to ocean sciences. At Berkeley, we don't have a marine science or an oceanography program, so our students are undergraduates and graduate students in earth and planetary sciences or integrative biology, occasionally geography, but they're students that have some background in ocean sciences. And the course introduces them to pedagogy, and then they're put into a practicum where they're trying things out very quickly during the course. So the course addresses 3 critical needs that we identified through a significant needs assessment process. One is that scientists need opportunities to communicate about their research. This is a nice social thing, so it's, socially positive thing, but also a requirement of almost every funding agency in the country now. There's also a need to create awareness among future scientists about the importance of education and outreach, and to provide them with the skills to engage in education and outreach as professional scientists. So we find, and you can probably tell us more about your experiences in your career, but we find that many scientists tell us that they were never trained to teach or to talk to the public, to give an interview, to talk with the media. These are things that they pick up or learn on their own but don't get formal training in. So we identified that as a need. And we also, there's a need for educators, in particular classroom teachers, with science degrees. There's a shortage in the country of science teachers with science training. And so we're hoping, and we've got some evidence, that a small percentage of students that take the course, about 10 to 15% of our undergraduate and graduate science majors, actually decide that they want to go into teaching. So the goals of the course are to provide a model for establishing substantive long-term partnerships between scientists and educators to meet their respective needs. And I mentioned this earlier, that scientists have a need to have access to educators willing to work with them, and vice versa. Educators are in desperate need of rigorous content. And it's not always, the collaboration is not always easy, as many of you can probably testify to, that those partnerships need to be carefully structured. Another goal is to introduce diverse future scientists to the importance of K-12 education, informal ed, public outreach, and broader impact. What we're finding when we say diverse future scientists, at Berkeley, for instance, the students taking our course, regardless of the departments that they come from, are far more diverse than the people teaching the course. They're more diverse than the faculty of UC Berkeley in general. They're more diverse than the staff of the Lawrence Hall of Science in general. They're more diverse than the classroom teachers in Berkeley Unified School District, and they're just as diverse as the students in Berkeley Unified School District. So this is a very powerful way to provide students to put students in settings where they can provide role models, and that kids, and adults for that matter in aquariums, but where students can see themselves becoming a university student and maybe even a future scientist. We're providing diverse role models and inquiry-based science activities for children and families. And again, I can't overstate the importance of having diverse UC Berkeley students going out into our community and teaching science to students. When our students go into a second grade classroom once a week for 6 weeks, and they teach about an hour, hour and a half of ocean sciences to a class of second graders 6 different times, That, what is that? 6, 9, 10 hours of ocean sciences? That is more ocean sciences than those kids will get the entire rest of their K-12 career. That's likely to be the case. So even though it's a small treatment, it's a small delivery, it's very significant in terms of the amount of increase that those students are getting in their exposure to ocean sciences. So here's what it looks like in the Berkeley catalog. I mentioned we offer the course through Earth and Planetary Sciences, co-listed with Integrative Biology. The prerequisites are not significant: interest in ocean science and at least one science course under their belt before they take the course. We discourage freshmen from taking the course. It's mostly juniors and seniors and graduate students. But occasionally we have a sophomore or even a freshman, but not very often, that convinces us that they have a strong enough background in the content to be successful. And here's the course description. And we don't need to read that. I just wanted to show you what it looks like in the catalog if you want to take a look at that. And so we provide these types of tools for you. Anybody that's interested in the course can steal all the documentation that we've done and that other people around the country have done, so that you don't have to reinvent the paperwork that you have to file at your university. So the course is typically co-taught by a research scientist and an educator or a master classroom teacher. And this is very important from our point of view, that the science and the educational theory is at the same level of rigor. And we have a small handful of research scientists that have been involved in education and outreach efforts for many years, and they feel very comfortable teaching both halves, playing both roles themselves, and they've been extraordinarily successful at it. Adina Paitan at Stanford and later at UC Santa Cruz has done this. But in most cases, we recommend that an educator and a scientist demonstrate by their presence and their collaboration to the students that both disciplines are equally important, equally rigorous, both have research behind them that supports what's being taught in the course, etc. The course is for undergraduates and graduates in ocean-related majors. It introduces the students to inquiry-based pedagogy and learning theory, and then we put students in pairs and place them in a practicum, either in a classroom or in a museum or aquarium or a science center or in a field learning experience like an ecotourism or an outdoor ed experience. So there's one version of the class that puts all the students in K-12 and another course that puts students in the informal setting. We always send students out in pairs, never alone, you can imagine, for obvious reasons. But for many students, almost everybody that's taken our course, this is their first experience teaching. Many of them, maybe they taught swim lessons, maybe they made money babysitting, maybe they were a counselor at a Y camp, but none of them have really defined themselves as having previous experience teaching. So we want them there with a partner. Okay, so far, Communicating Ocean Sciences, the version of the course that places students in K-12 classrooms, is being taught at these universities. And you can see that they range from Stanford and Woods Hole all the way to Oxnard Community College in California. We've got community colleges, four-year and graduate institutions, and state universities and privates, et cetera, that are all teaching the course. The informal version of the course, which we shorthand call COSEE, Communicating Ocean Sciences to Informal Audiences, is being taught at these institutions. And obviously, in order to teach this course, you have to have a college or university partnered with an informal ed partner. So Hampton University is a historically black college. They're working with Virginia Aquarium. USC, where Judy came from, and Judy taught the course for the first time at USC, is partnered with the Aquarium of the Pacific, etc. We're doing pretty careful evaluation of the course everywhere that it's taught. We're surveying students and interviewing the instructors, the classroom teachers, the aquarium people, all the various partners in the project. We're seeing that students are telling us, virtually 100% of the students tell us that taking the course significantly influences the way they think about their own teaching and learning. So they often have new ideas about themselves as a learner and the university professors that are teaching them in the rest of their courses, as well as their own teaching practices. The courses have demonstrated a positive and significant impact on the students and the faculty by their own accounts. The course received what for us was a very prestigious award in 2005, the Educational Initiatives Award at Berkeley. It's the equivalent of a Distinguished Teaching Award, but it goes to a program, not a person. It's been taught, the courses have been taught in 25 places so far. And we're expanding here. We're hoping that several places in Hawaii will also teach the course. Okay. So now we're going to do the real stuff. We're going to launch right into one of the early sessions in the course and give you a sense of what the experience of the students actually is like.
However, before we do that, we're going to take a break. But Judith, you had something.
I was just wondering if we could also mention for this group that I think there's another model, especially for the informal audiences, the COSEE course, because even if you can't teach it at a university, you might work with naturalists or docents that could still use this training, and maybe you can't teach it through a university, or maybe you can teach it through outreach college or something like that. They can get credit, but even if you couldn't get credit for them, I think it's still a worthwhile course to teach to a group of professionals, naturalists, or other people that might have a lot of science background or naturalist training, but not a lot of education background, and it would help them talk to their audiences a lot better. And I know that there are already people here that have thought about that, but I just wanted to reiterate that it doesn't have to be taught in a college setting. It's for people who are most comfortable as science, I guess, scientists or naturalists, but, you know.
That's an excellent point. Yeah, thank you for bringing that up. We're actually right now in the midst of creating another version of this as well for informal educators working in aquariums and museums and things like that, so that the people there could actually use this same material, slightly changed, to do professional development for their own staffs in the informal setting too. So that there are lots and lots of ways that this has been changed to fit different audiences. And I think you'll see after you go through a couple of the activities how you can see that it's based on how people learn. And it's providing opportunities to practice a lot of different pedagogies that are effective ways to help people learn things.